I like soup. I like most soups. Vegetable, minestrone, thick, warm and homely. But there's one soup I don't like. It's an emetic one. Allow me to tell you the recipe. 1 sprig of Parliament, a dollop of media, a pinch of Labor, a sprinkle of Liberal, and 3 equal teaspoons of Miss Gillard, Mr Rudd, and Mr Abbott. None of us would ever want a bowl of this soup. This soup is like swill, and we are the pigs surrounding this swill. This swill of Australian politics. I love politics. Not the type of politics showcased in the past 3 years, which has been full of negativity. I love the politics which strives to improve the life of every Australian. I love the politics which acts as a force for good. And I love the politics where everyone can participate, regardless of their age, their race, their sexuality, their socio-economic status. It is because of my love for this type of politics that I've worked and campaigned for members of state and federal parliament. And it's because of my love for this type of politics that I campaign for a new way, that I campaign for a new recipe. And we must all come on this journey. But it's no easy matter, especially considering the complexity of the Australian political landscape. But we must take this journey. We must climb every mountain in search for a new recipe. And as a good chef would, determine what that one bad ingredient is. And I've been on this search. I've climbed every mountain. And I found that one bad ingredient. It's disrespect. So today, I will look at this bad ingredient of disrespect. I will talk about how it's shown in the Australian political landscape. And I will talk about its effect on Australia. This disrespect is shown by 3 different stakeholders. Firstly, the politicians. Secondly, the media. And thirdly, us, the general public. So firstly, let's look at ourselves. Let's look at how we show our disrespect. In Australia, unlike in America, politicians are just regular human beings. People who we could see ourselves having a Foster's with. And this is okay, ladies and gentlemen. What it often results in are very candid discussions between politicians and the people they seek to represent. Us. However, we must draw a line between honesty and disrespect. Regardless of whether or not we agree with their policy, we must respect the person, their chair, and their role in society. We must treat these people with more respect. Miss Julia Gillard is one key example of the lack of respect many members of the Australian public treated for our elected officials. Tony Jones, host of current affairs program Q&A, said that Julia Gillard was the type of person you disliked before a meeting but loved once you left. This is telling to her 3 years as Prime Minister. To many members of the Australian public, Julia Gillard was a two-faced, backstabbing Lady Macbeth with blood on her hands. Unfortunately, what this opened Australian political discourse to was character assassinations and treating our leaders with little to no respect. Carrie Ann Walsh, the writer of The Stalking of Gillard, as an expose of her time as PM, said that Julia Gillard was cast as a political liar, a policy charlatan, mercilessly and relentlessly lampooned for her hair, her clothes, and her arse. Bitch. Witch. Barren. These were descriptions not uncommon political discourse in the past few years. Bitch. Witch. Barren. We should hang our heads in shame, ladies and gentlemen. We live in a civilised society. Never, ever should our leaders have to endure such dehumanising, offensive and sexist vitriol. We need to have more respect for our leaders. So secondly, the next ingredient in our bubbling soup, the politicians, who do not treat us with enough respect. But maybe the reason we don't treat our politicians with respect is because we don't trust them. Politicians lie. It's a fact. Everyone believes it. In one of my favourite TV shows, The West Wing, Press Secretary C.J. Craig said that people are stupid in election years. Novice Charlie Young responded with, "No, we're not. You just treat us that way." This is telling to the relationship between the politicians and us. It speaks of a genuine lack of respect. Why is it the politicians think a 3-word slogan will entice us to vote for them? Stop the votes, axe the tax, cut red tape are just a few examples. But more shockingly, why is it accepted practice that politicians lie to us? In the most recent campaign, the Age ran a truthfulness test, testing the claims made by politicians. 70% were false. 70%. In a recent ABC poll, 36% of people agreed with the following statement. Politicians almost always lie. It would be naive to think otherwise. Politicians need to stop lying to the public. It is at this stage that we will treat them with more respect. So thirdly, lastly, the media do not treat their role in society with enough respect. The media should act as a third-party entity, accurately, ethically, reporting on issues that matter. We see the inverse of this. In Victoria, we have the Herald Sun. In New South Wales, the Daily Telegraph. And the list of newspaper publications which actively seek to promote their political ideologue is shocking. We need Tony. Vote this mob out. Are just 2 examples of political advertising for the Labor Party. Oh, maybe not. The Liberal Party. If Rupert Murdoch had his way, our bubbling soup would include a pinch of Labor and a litre of Liberal. Now, I accept that print news is being threatened, but this does not excuse big media bosses printing sensationalist reports to sell big, rather than reporting on the issues that matter. This lack of respect shown by all parties has serious effects on Australia. Priorities are out of order. Issues are being ignored. 1 in 6 Australian children are born into poverty. 25% of university graduates can't get jobs. Global warming continues to progress. Prejudice still exists. War runs rampant. These are issues which need to be solved. Yet these are issues being ignored by the politicians, the media, and by us. An arena of policy debate, of respect, and of problem solving have slowly been eroded by those 3 key stakeholders. So the question we must all answer is, how do we inject more respect to our political landscape? How do we build from the ground up this arena once more? So my solution today revolves around those 3 stakeholders. Firstly, the media. That we limit and label newspaper editorials. that people like Rupert Murdoch don't own 70% of Australian newspapers. Secondly, the politicians. That they be held to account and made to apologise when they lie. It is only when we trust our leaders that we will begin to respect them. And finally, to us, the general population, that we become less ambivalent towards Canberra, that we include Australian politics in our national curriculum, that we treat our leaders with more respect. Ladies and gentlemen, I stand here today to end the surge of negative politics today. I stand here to campaign for a new way. I stand here to focus on the issues that really matter. The politicians want this. We want this. The media wants this. Australia wants this. And without a shadow of a doubt, our soup needs this. Thank you.